Today we're going to take a look at how I built this miter saw station. Materials were purchased at a local big box store, Amazon, and directly from Kreg. The first step was to take the 2 sheets of 3/4 inch maple plywood and lay out the cut list. It's important to lay it out very carefully and to mark each piece so that nothing gets mixed up, because it would be a shame to ruin a perfectly good piece of maple plywood. I used my table saw to cut the sheets down to their final sizes. I utilized an outfeed roller in front of my table saw to handle the oversized sheets. The first step was building the carcass. As I have in previous projects, I used pocket hole joinery to hold the carcass together. Once the carcass was assembled, I was able to move on to the more complicated parts of this build. On this build, the plans called to use some stretchers on the bottom to mount the wheels. This is to keep the cabinet stable from side to side. It also provides room for the cabinet wings and supports to fold up. So in a folded state, the cabinet is all self-contained and protected. So once the wheels were installed on the cabinet, I flipped it over. The project was starting to take shape. The base cabinet was completed, and now it was time to move on to the wings and the wing supports. The wings were a little bit more complicated to cut out than the other parts. Once it was laid out, I was able to use a straight edge and my circular saw. The sequence to install the wings and the wing supports was to install the wing supports first. Once the wing supports were installed, then I could install the wings. I then installed the miter saw on the cabinet so that I could level out the wings so that the wings were exactly level with the base of the miter saw. Next was installing the doors. The doors are pretty straightforward. I decided to use European style hinges, which I've done before on other projects. The process of installing European style hinges requires a hole be drilled in the cabinet door. Once the hole is drilled, then the hinge is installed on the cabinet door. With the hinge installed on the cabinet door, then the cabinet door can be mounted to the cabinet. And here is the miter saw station with the cabinet doors, the wings, and the wing supports installed. Next, I installed the cabinet door handles. These door handles are the same ones that I've used on other projects. I milled them out of oak and glued them to the door and then secured them with screws from behind. After I installed the cabinet door handles, I was able to install the Precision Trak system. Here's the miter saw station halfway folded up. And here's the miter saw station when it's completely folded. It has quite a small footprint compared to when it's extended. As you can see, the Kreg Trak system is well protected when the cabinet is in its folded state. Now that the assembly has been completed, it was time to finish the project. I used 1 coat of natural Danish oil. It took about 3 days to dry. After it was dry, I rubbed the cabinet with folded pieces of paper bags to burnish the surface and make it smooth. And this is the finished cabinet with the miter saw installed. I think it came out quite well. And looking at one side folded, it really, as before, looks quite compact. Some people use the bottom to store a vacuum so that they can have self-contained dust collection. I decided in this case, since I have a central vacuum, to store some benchtop tools. And then here is the cabinet in the shop, tucked in its little corner. I really enjoyed building this project and making this video. I look forward to more projects in the near future. Thank you for taking the time to visit my channel and to watch my video. Please take a moment to subscribe and like this video.